And my name is Rob Maynor. I'm the spiritual formation pastor at LaCroix Church in Cape Girardeau, Missouri, and I'm going to share with you today just a few things that we are discovering or rediscovering about spiritual formation or discipleship. Spiritual formation or discipleship is a journey, and we often think of it that way. And in any journey, a key thing is knowing where you're starting from and then knowing where you're going. And so we are trying to develop ways to help people understand where they're starting from. We have people all over the spectrum in terms of where they are spiritually. And so one of the things that we're recognizing is we have to be serious about the process aspect of discipleship. And we have to help people engage where they're at, understand where they are, what their next step should be based on where they are, and then how to move forward. And then the other thing that we're just now beginning to talk about is recapturing the idea of where are they headed? Where are we going? Because I think we all fall into the trap a lot of times of assuming people know that and simply talking to them about means of grace or spiritual disciplines or the things they ought to be doing. And it's very easy to turn that stuff into legalism and not understand why we do it. We do it because somebody told us to do it. We do it because we ought to do it. We do it because people for years have said, this is what you do, read your Bible, go to church. And I think we've lost the art of holding up for them what Christ-likeness looks like, because that's really where we want people to go, is to, in their own unique personality, in their own unique gifting and way, to reflect to the world who Jesus Christ is. I think is a vision that we've lost a little bit. So we're starting to try to cast that vision again about what it would look like if our community were a community of people moving towards Christ-likeness. And then simply saying, how do we get there? Now we talk about what are the things that you might engage in. So that's one of the things that we've begun to do is really, where are you? Where are you heading? Do you want to go there? Do you understand why we want to go there? We want to go there for something in a much larger context than our own individual story or to look good to other people. We want to go there because God's calling us upward and to something bigger and greater and more abundant in our lives and to make an impact on the world. And this is the way we're going to do it. The other thing that we're doing is we're devising ways to understand and to implement programs or activities or encouragement around the fact that we've come to discover this process changes over time. The things that are catalytic to your growth over time change. So in other words, when you first come, the weekend services for someone may be catalytic in their growth. They may experience a huge burst of growth just from coming to the weekend experience. Later on, a small group and connecting with others relationally and seeing life lived out will be important. Later on, it may be a different kind of small group where the study is much more important than just the relational component. Classes may become more important. Mentorship, finding a mentor or mentoring other people becomes more important. And so these things change over time. It's not like the weekend is unimportant or we don't go. We're called to worship together corporately. But the impact of it in terms of being catalytic to our growth may diminish. And other things may begin to become more important if we're going to keep moving forward. As we move along, as we begin to grow, typically we grow fast and without a lot of effort on our part early in that process. But as we move along, more responsibility falls on me, more effort falls on me, and my growth rate tends to be slower. And if we don't encourage people as they move along in the process, they're going to think, what's happened? This used to be easy. And if we don't let them understand that the process itself changes over time and looks different over time, then they think something's wrong with them when it's not. It's a little bit like, I always talk about, it's a little bit like learning how to play the guitar. If I know nothing about playing the guitar and I want to learn, the beginning part of that, how important is the person who's giving me lessons? It's incredibly important. If I don't go to the person who already knows how to play, I can't even begin. And so I learn things, I practice things, I try things, I'm shown things. But as I develop more and more, clearly the responsibility of getting better shifts to me. I've got to practice on my own. I have to find places to play, particularly places to play that match the kind of music that I want. I may have to form a band. I may have to find outlets for me to play. And the responsibility for my growth shifts. It's the same way with discipleship over time, and we're trying to help people understand that. And so we're learning things from, I read a really small book, I would recommend it. It's called Growing True Disciples by George Barna, and he just looked at several churches that looked the same, some small, some large. From the outside they appeared to be the same, but some were clearly forming disciples, Christ-like people, and some were not. And he just simply compares the difference between them. And so we're learning things like small groups are incredibly important to growth, but if you rely solely on small groups for total growth, you won't make it. Why is that? Because things shift and change during that process for people, and they need to own more of the responsibility of that.